advisor or your counselor know after this session, and we can go ahead and get that set up for you, or we can go ahead and kind of send you a reset password email. So just a couple of housekeeping rules for today. For those students that are online and you would like to ask a question, you can go ahead and kind of drop that in the chat box below. Or if you would like to go ahead and hold your question till the end of the session and ask it live, hopefully we should have about 5-7 minutes towards the end of the session to kind of cover the live questions. And if I can request you all to just drop out the mute, that would be really helpful. So as I mentioned, we're here today to kind of just talk about Bridge U and your school partnership with Bridge U. So the idea behind Bridge U is to kind of get you started in exploring the different options for higher education, whether that's sort of, the career you want to choose, the university of course you want to get into. We're basically here to help you find that best match or best fit through Bridge U. And when you've done that, kind of help you build a really successful application with, of course, the help of your counselors and the great advising team that you have at your school to kind of get you through that entire process. Now, I know that many of you are more senior students, so you might have somewhat of an idea of what you want to do already, but just keep an open mind today and definitely kind of take back a lot of the things that we will be covering. So Ms. Jaspreet, I will also go ahead and just record this as I mentioned. So we'll go ahead and in progress, record this and kind of share it with you after the session. Now I am sharing my screen. I will turn off my video if that's okay, just usually helps with the Wi-Fi connection. Okay, awesome. I'm assuming that everyone can see my screen. Now, when you log into Bridge U, this is what your homepage should sort of look like. Now, keep in mind that I am using a dummy student's profile today, so yours won't look exactly like this. Every student's profile will look differently. Over here in the middle, we have what we call the Discover field, and the Discover field sort of takes you through useful articles, information, different online events like webinars and university events that are all online coming up with Bridge U. And the more information that you enter on Bridge U, which we will cover shortly, the more curated and more specific the information here is for your needs. So, for example, if you indicated that you'd like to study medicine, maybe articles and information related to medicine will kind of pop up here. So definitely do keep that in mind. You can also save articles to come back to at a later point. You'll also see that you have a bunch of different tasks that will be assigned to you in the right-hand corner by your counselors. And these tasks are usually created sort of like a mini to-do list. So once you kind of completed the task, you'll see that there's a due date given with it and all. And once you completed a task, you can actually send it to your advisor like a homework assignment to review and get approval. You'll also see that there's a little comment box right here. So you can actually comment if you're confused on how to kind of complete the task. You can actually go ahead and comment on this, and this comment gets sent back as a message to your counselor. So you can actually do everything on Bridge U, and that's sort of the point of it as well, that you want to do everything on here so your advisors can kind of keep a track of everything. Before they speak with you, they have all of your information kind of lined up to kind of guide you better for your further education needs. You'll also see that there is a profile, a bell icon, which shows your notifications when you've been assigned different things. There'll be a link to your profile and a messaging center as well. You'll also see that there's a little progress widget, which we will come back to towards the end of the session. But this kind of helps outline what things that you should be doing on Bridge U next to kind of understand or curate a university list on Bridge U. So this kind of helps you not only check your progress, but also kind of guides you towards what are some next steps you can take or next action points you can take to go ahead and get started on Bridge U. You'll also see that a lot of the times you can actually click Go to Tool on the task that is assigned to you, and it redirects you to a particular tool on Bridge U to complete the task that has been assigned to you. So sometimes if you're confused where to kind of start from, by clicking on Go to Tool, it will lead you to a specific tool to kind of complete the task. Now, the first tool that I actually, out of all of these, we won't be covering all the tools, we will be covering some main tools that you will use on BridgeU. The first tool that I actually want to talk about today is the strategy advisor. Now, the strategy advisor really kind of helps students understand what extracurricular areas you need to kind of get more experience in and what your strong areas are. And maybe you can use those to help write your application essays or help kind of build upon your skills that you may pursue particular areas of interest in university. So step one is actually listing the experiences you have. And now all of the instructions are actually given right here. But the first step is listing out the experience you have. So putting in as many details as possible. What you did, when you did it, and where or maybe what you learned from it. And you can see that I went ahead and kind of just put in a couple of brief examples here. The more details you include, the better. So for example, this particular student has been on the swim team, she's been on the debate team, she's done an online coding course during COVID, and she even tutored a grade 9 economics student. And of course, I understand, and so do university representatives, that a lot of your high school, career went into online learning, or you weren't able to do extracurriculars, and that's completely all right. You can talk about things that you did online or you did in your spare time. It doesn't necessarily have to be in school. So the first step is going ahead and adding your different experiences. So you want to go ahead and add in the experience in this box and click add, and then it gets collected right here. And if you aren't sure of what you can maybe do, you can read a couple of examples that BridgeU has kind of given for you as well. The next step is actually understanding what did you learn from these extracurriculars. A lot of the time there are students who do participate in different activities and they're just there for certificate collection. Really, you want to understand or tell the admission officers what you learned from those activities. So the second part is kind of reflecting on why it's relevant and why university admission officers would care about the different activities that you kind of participated in. So you want to go ahead and tag different strategy factors. Strategy factors are a term specific to BridgeU. You want to go ahead and tag different strategy factors to the different experiences that you listed. And you can actually read a little bit more about what these strategy factors are right here. And you can refer to this again by clicking on the question mark right here. So each one has a different, has a different description. So for example, you might have learned critical thinking through its experience. You might have learned a great teamwork or resilience through a specific experience. You want to go ahead and tag all the relevant strategy factors to those different areas. And once you do that, you'll see, once you go ahead and you do that for all of the different areas, you will see areas in which you need to improve in. So this is a really good way of kind of getting started and doing this early on. So you have a couple of, maybe you have a winter term, or you have an Easter term or a summer term to kind of maybe ramp up on your extracurriculars, because it's not just about what the grade requirements and so on are these days. So the strategy factor, and this is actually my favorite part about the strategy factor, that it tells you which areas you're strong in and which areas you need to improve in. And then it gives you suggestions on how you can kind of improve in those areas as well. So it's really great to be able to kind of understand what you're lacking in and maybe look for different examples and kind of go ahead and try and do those. Again, things can be done online. For example, the student did an online coding course. So things can be done online, and admission officers do realize that, COVID had taken over a lot of the high school part of your extracurriculars. So definitely don't worry about that. The last part is that this kind of brings up a strategy report, and the strategy report helps you sort of list out your main extracurriculars or main areas of interest, and then you can actually use these as a brainstorm or a list of brainstorming ideas to get started in your application essays. So it's a great way to kind of think about what you can maybe possibly focus your essays on. So this is a great way to kind of get started, and it is one of the first tools that I would recommend you start using on Virtue. So the next tool that we're actually going to talk about today is the careers tool. Now, the careers tool is actually quite helpful to give you an idea of what it's like, to pursue different careers, and also what subjects you would like to maybe study, or, what subjects will lead you down that career path. And, not only understand what careers you're interested in, but maybe what degrees sort of overlap in that area. Now you'll see, definitely don't get overwhelmed by the number of different categories in this. Inside each category, what you can actually do is you can click on it and it will show you all of the subcategories that kind of fall under it. So it's not just these main job categories, it's actually subcategories in each of these. And this can be really interesting if you're not quite sure what you want to maybe you're interested in maybe pursuing in university, or maybe you have an idea of what kind of field you would like to go into, since you guys are more senior students. And if you don't have any idea, that's absolutely okay as well. That's what Bridgeu is here for, to help you kind of discover and explore those different strengths and weaknesses, requirements, things that you might qualify for, things you might not qualify for. And for example, let's take an example of, say, engineering. Maybe you want to know what an engineer does. So you'll see that under engineering, there'll be lots of different categories. There'll be different types of engineering fields that you can go into. So for example, if you want to see what maybe an aerospace engineer does, and see if that suits your interest, you can click on interested and read more about it. So what it does is it kind of helps outline what an aerospace engineer would do, and it pulls up all of the related degree subjects as well, which I'll just come back to in a minute. You'll also see, so we do use a US-based software for this. So you'll see that a lot of the software is an American company, so a lot of the starting salary or the experience salary will be in US dollars, and that's completely okay. That's one thing. Another thing is definitely keep an open mind when you're browsing through these job categories, because Bridgeu is a global platform, and this is a US or an American-based company that we pull all of this careers-related data from. So they might have different terms, or they might have different names for different jobs or different careers. So definitely do keep that in mind. And if you're looking for something particular, you can always click on this magnifying glass here and search it manually as well, instead of going into the different categories. So continuing onwards about an aerospace engineer, you can read a little bit more about what an aerospace engineer does, see if that suits your interest, and then see which degrees would overlap with an aerospace engineer career. So either you can do a general engineering degree, or you can do a more specific degree in aerospace, aeronautical, and astronautical engineering. So definitely do keep that in mind as well. And I'm sure you all have heard of majors and minors and concentrations in college. So you can either choose to go ahead and do this later on, or you can pursue a general engineering degree. So all of the related degrees will kind of get pulled up right here as well. And then moving onwards, you'll see that you can also go ahead and see what the related skills are. And this is a really great example of kind of looking inward and understanding what your strengths and weaknesses are. And many of you may have taken the assessment tests with your counselors as well. And that kind of gives you an idea of what your strengths and weaknesses, or what your skills are, and what you can build upon. So for example, taking the example of aerospace engineering, you can see that the related skills are research, organizational skills, planning, communication skills. So, you might have thought that there are a significant amount of physics requirements or physics skills that go into this job category, but maybe you didn't know that it requires a lot more communication skills. Maybe you are very introverted and you need to work on your communication skills. So this is a great way of you kind of understanding those requirements and what skills are needed to kind of pursue different careers and different job categories as well. When you scroll down here, you'll actually see that the software also picks up the actual number of jobs that were being advertised in this role. So you want to go ahead and see that will this job exist when I graduate? Will there be demand for this? So this is a great way of kind of looking inward and understanding how this works. So if you hover over here, you can see that in 2020, there is a big dip, and aerospace engineering had a severe impact, of course, because the airline industry had taken a big hit, so the need for aerospace engineers had dropped. And overall, during the pandemic and during COVID, people were losing their jobs, and that's illustrated really well right here when there is a big dip. But you can see this has actually started to pick back up in 2021 and 2022. So it's really important to kind of have a look at the different careers or different jobs or different degrees that might be of interest to you. You can even see similar ones here in the right-hand corner, and you can explore the different categories and add them to your job interests. Now, when you do that, you want to look at through our help center. So our help center is actually available to all students on BridgeU. And once we go back to the home page, I will show you how to get there, redirect you there. But our help center is actually an entire library of resources that can help you explore this tool in depth with your counselor. And you can also see that we have loads of resources based on the careers tool. So you can see how to maybe link your interests with the career, and how to kind of link that back to our careers tool, and how to maybe in turn choose your high school subjects, or maybe choose your higher education university subjects as well. So you can go ahead and explore more on our help center, and I will link some of these things to your counselor. And once we go back to our home page, I will show you how to kind of get to the help center. So coming back onwards right here to the careers tool, I definitely want to end with the careers tool with saying that you don't have to feel pressure to pick a career now. Of course, it is beneficial if you have some sort of direction. For example, some careers, when I was in college, some careers didn't even exist. For example, there's YouTuber now and, drone engineering. So you definitely want to look into your own skills and interests and how they can kind of be applicable. But you also want to make sure that you have left enough time for planning. So for example, careers like medicine require a lot more planning and a lot more specialization. So you want to make sure that you kind of get started in advance. And hence, that's why we really recommend that you get started on BridgeU as soon as possible. So the next tool that I actually want to talk about today, I will take you guys back to the home page. This is what the home page looks like as a reminder. There are two main resources that I want to go ahead and kind of link you all to. So one, as I demoed right now, is our help center. This is an entire library of resources available to you as students. If you have any specific keyword in mind, you can even search by keyword. So if you forgot how we use the strategy advisor today, you can click on the strategy advisor, and it will link you through step-by-step material and video tutorials to kind of get you through the strategy advisor or any other tool on BridgeU. So definitely go ahead and access this in the left-hand corner, in the icon in the left-hand corner when you're signed in. And another is our live chat. So our live chat is actually monitored by our support team. And usually from 10 a.m., I think 10 or 11 a.m. India time to about 5 or 6 p.m. for you all. And you are able to kind of get your questions answered if you have a technical difficulty, if you aren't able to find a specific tool on BridgeU, and so on. You can get all of those questions answered through this. And we have a live support team. This isn't a robot. And do keep in mind that the chat is being monitored. So, it is not a robot and the chat is being monitored. So we would definitely suggest only speak about BridgeU related things. Coming back on over to the next tool that I actually want to talk to you all about today is the profile builder. Now, you'll all be spending a lot of time on the profile builder. The profile builder actually has a series of questions that you fill out. When you are about to fill this out, it will be blue. When it's completed, it will be green, like I demo for the student here. So what the profile builder is essentially doing is, excuse me, what the profile builder essentially is doing, it's basically collecting information about you so that we can give you recommendations based on your grades, countries you'd like to study, maybe your personal preferences, and the subjects you're interested in studying. So what this does is it asks you a series of questions and it pulls together what kind of universities would be a good fit for all of the different things that you have mentioned, all of your criteria. And you even want to think about subjects like, for example, you want to study medicine, like you want to go to Canada. So is medicine even available to you at universities in Canada? And are you able to attend that? So again, these things do require a significant amount of planning in advance. So that's why we recommend you go ahead and you get started with the profile builder. This is for basically a lot of you who are still exploring universities that you'd like to attend, and you're kind of looking into different options. So we will go ahead and go through this first, and then there's a second way where you can explore unis, which is called the Explore section on Bridgeu. So we will talk about that after the profile builder. So this is basically asking you, information like where you currently live in, how you identify, your date of birth, and so on. One of the main questions this will ask you here is, which of these countries would you consider studying in? Which ones are you most interested in? What you'll see here, and of course, keep in mind that this can be a little confusing, is that these are only 12 countries listed. These aren't the only countries you can study in the world. These are countries on Bridgeu, which have the most extensive amount of information, and basically it has the most extensive, these countries are ones which Bridgeu has the most extensive amount of information. And what we do is we go ahead and we utilize this information that you enter in the profile builder in the university matches that we present you with. So now keep in mind that this doesn't mean you can't add your own countries like I've done right here, apart from these 12. It just means that Bridgeu will be able to give you extensive matching data with regards to these countries. But for these countries, you can still go ahead and apply to those countries. You can still go ahead and add universities to your short list. But definitely keep in mind that you aren't restricted to just these countries. I would also recommend, if you do have countries in mind besides these 12, definitely add them in manually like I did here. Because it's important to keep your counselor and advisor updated about these things. If you don't enter this, your advisor and counselors will not know that you are interested in studying in countries beyond these. So it's really important to add as much information as possible onto the profile builder in order for your counselors to also get that information about you. So just to backtrack a little, these 12 countries will have the most extensive information on Bridgeu, and we can give you detail on the university matcher, which we'll just be demoing shortly. So don't be alarmed, or don't get intimidated or anything like that. The next section actually goes over the education section. Now, you will definitely need the help of one of your counselors or advisors to kind of go over what grades you expect to achieve. This can be based on maybe like predicted grades. You can discuss with your counselors which grades you expect to achieve and so on. And how you do this is you simply go ahead and type and add new grade, put in your school system, which I believe is the 4-point GPA, and then you can go ahead and put in your expected score. Now, keep in mind, this isn't, a official university transcript or anything like that. This is basically preliminary information that is used only between you and your counselor and on Bridgeu to help understand what kind of universities you would have a good chance of getting into. And you can come back and change this information on the profile builder at any time. You can change it every month, you can change it every week, you can change it every day. So keep in mind, whenever you change the information on here, it will affect the university matches that you are given. Now, another section is also the subject interest section. Now, the careers tool actually helps you kind of get to this point to explore different subject categories that you might be interested in, but you need to go ahead and select which subjects you might be interested in studying. Why is that? Because if you want to study in the US, for example, there's more than 4,000 universities in the US. So how does Bridgeview narrow down which ones you might be a good fit for? So you want to go ahead and indicate which subjects you are interested in studying so that it can go ahead and narrow those universities down and present you with those universities that actually have subjects you want to study. So definitely keep that in mind. And if you're confused which category to kind of look through for your subject interest, you can always go ahead and use this magnifying glass, type in a specific field, and then add it over here like I've done for this student. The last section is actually the personal preferences section on the profile builder. Now this just goes over, what size of university you want to go to, if you want to go to the US, what part of the US you want to go to, and so on. So it's really important that you go ahead and you fill this out with a lot of thought as well. I went to Babson College in the US. I'm not sure if you may have heard of that, but it's a really small college. And, we had a class of like maybe 30, 40 students. So definitely keep that in mind as well. Do you want to go to a big university or a small university and so on. Now, a lot of this might change in the next couple of months, like I said, and it's completely fine. You can go ahead and kind of make those edits when you would like and go ahead and change things around in the profile builder. Now, when you hit Get University Matches, you will be brought to this Matches section. And let's see how this kind of works. So when you scroll down, you'll see the number of matches, that university matches you're given is based on the selected countries and the subjects and how you kind of match up to these different universities. And that's how they're kind of divided. So they're divided into reach, match, and safety columns. So what this basically refers to is the reach universities are sort of like dream universities. So you have the lowest chance of getting into those. And safety ones are sort of like backup ones, and you have the highest chance of acceptance. So of course, it is advisable that you apply to a mix of these. So you have a good chance of getting into the universities you're applying, not just all like, dream or really high reach universities. So definitely do keep that in mind. I would also suggest, a lot of the times I suggest students to go ahead and narrow this down by country, so it makes it more helpful and it's less overwhelming. So if you just see the universities that you are matched with in the US, and say you click on the University of California, Irvine, you can see what the world ranking looks like, where it's situated, what the annual fees looks like, what the different courses are available, and you can narrow down these different subjects. And then you want to see the match scores. So this is important, and keep in mind the match scores will not be available for every single country, as I mentioned, or every single university, but it gives you a good idea of what your chance of acceptance is at this university, the number of people who applied to this university and how many got in, and the preference fit. So the preference fit is those preferred personal preferences that you put in, how closely it matches up to that as well. So definitely do keep in mind that, again, this is just, a snapshot, and it gives you a good baseline to understand what universities might be a good fit or good match for. And the whole point of this page is to explore different universities. You might have just heard of Harvard and Stanford. But the whole point of this page is to explore relevant universities that you might not have known of before, and then add them to your short list. So when you add them to your short list, they get compiled into a list that helps you kind of narrow down and speak with your advisor about which ones you should then further add to your application list. And the great thing is you can even make notes about this university. So for example, like I've done for the student, I want to add a note Maybe I need to look further into the requirements. Maybe this is my first choice. And any notes you kind of add here, your counselor is able to see. So again, that gets pulled up when you meet with your counselor. You can also visit the university website as well, in addition to kind of understanding all of the information that's given here about the university. So definitely keep that in mind. Now, another thing that I actually want to show you, I know that many of you may be interested in studying at universities in India. So you can we actually have an entire Indian portal. So when, for example, if you have indicated you would like to study in India, you can actually go to the portal, which I've opened up for you here. And you can actually go ahead, it's a very comprehensive portal, to go ahead and search different universities as well and have different filters. And the great thing is, so for example, maybe you're interested in Manipal University. This goes ahead and I filtered out, maybe I want to do my BTech in engineering, and it goes ahead and it filters out all of the different courses that are available at Manipal for a BTech, and also what their tuition fees look like, what the exams are, and what the duration is. And what you can actually do is you can even go ahead and look a little bit more about the admission requirements, what the application date cutoffs are, what the scholarship information is, and so on. And you can even read reviews as well. So it's a really, really comprehensive portal. I'll show you how you would go ahead and look at the university. So if you have a university in mind, like I did, you can search it directly through here, or you can go ahead and click the courses section, and you can even browse by course. So for example, if you want to go ahead and browse by, if you want to do a bachelor's in architectural interior design, you can go ahead and browse universities by filtering those options as well. So it's a great way and a really comprehensive portal to kind of have all of that data about Indian universities in one place. So definitely do keep that in mind. Another way you can actually go ahead and explore universities on BridgeU is through the Explore section. So the Explore section, you can actually go ahead and type in a university or a country, or you can go ahead and explore by country. So for example, you're maybe set on studying in the US. If you click on the US, it shows you all of the different universities, and then you can go ahead and filter by either the subject, or by the tuition fee, or by the ranking. So for example, if you want to go ahead and search for universities in the US that offer architecture and design, you can go ahead and see all of the different universities across all of the different pages that offer architecture and design as a course. And maybe you want to see they fall in the top 100 across the world. So you can see that there are 15 universities in the US with architecture and design courses, and they fall in the top 100. And what you can do is you can explore the university, for example, New York University. You can go ahead and explore the university like this, learn a little bit more about it, look at the degrees that are related to architecture and design, and then see how you would kind of compare to the students or the chance of acceptance at that particular university. Coming back on over to the university matches, if you recall, I had mentioned that there are 12 countries on BridgeU that give you comprehensive data like this: preference fit, chance of acceptance, reach matches, safety columns, and so on. But what about those countries, like I had typed in manually, Qatar and UAE, that are not, BridgeU does not have extensive information about? You can actually add the names of those universities manually. So for example, many of you might have heard of, say, the American University in Dubai. So you can go ahead and kind of type that in manually. I can see the different courses, and I can choose to go ahead and add this university to my shortlist. So just because BridgeU does not have data on this university to tell me what my chance of acceptance is, does not mean that I cannot go ahead and apply to it, or I cannot go ahead and kind of add it to my shortlist. So definitely do keep that in mind as well. So I want to go ahead and kind of stop right here. I know that this is a lot of overwhelming amount of information. And maybe we can go ahead and kind of answer any questions you have so far, any comments, and then I can go ahead and review the last tool, which is the writing builder. I thought maybe I can kind of break it up since it is a lot of information for the students. Sorry, I'm not able to hear. Give me a second. Hello. Yeah.
Guys, do we have any questions? Who have been listening very attentively? Okay. Do you have any question?
Of course, I understand many students haven't, gotten started with it as well. So it can definitely be, overwhelming. But I just wanted to kind of just pause and see if any students had any comments or, questions or anything they would like me to explore more about.
So do you all know about how to make your own profiles using profile builders? How many of you have made your profile using the profile builder? Any
Recording
problems and
stopped.
issues? And how many of you all have used the strategy advisor? You all know how to use the strategy advisor now? Okay. And what about careers? How many of you have explored your careers and options for universities? Have you started it or not? You have started exploring it? Any questions that you have for her at the moment? Yes, you have a question? Are you asking for BridgeU? BridgeU is free of cost for our children. We have, the school has paid for you all. So it is not free. The school has already paid. You don't need to pay anything while you browse and use the system. This is something that you all are going to use extensively to also create your essays, because the strategy builder and career options, after this meeting, I'm going to ask her.
Yeah, I'll go over the essays.
Yeah. So, UMAMA, if you could just explain about the essay writing and
Sure.
building.
Sure. I'll continue sharing my screen. If you could just give me a second.
Recording in progress.
Awesome. One more thing that I actually wanted to show you students was when you come on over to the university's matches section, you'll see that a lot of the matches, as I mentioned, can be divided. So for example, if you're interested in studying in the UK and you narrow down matches by the UK, another thing you can actually go ahead and explore is, so for example, maybe you're interested in studying communications and business at University of Liverpool. You can see what your chance of acceptance looks like. And of course, keep in mind that this chance of acceptance is based on your chance of an offer. Since UK universities give you an offer and you have to kind of go ahead and meet that offer. And also there's a great way to kind of look through and explore, as I mentioned, one of the main things about our goals of BridgeU is to explore universities or courses that might be a good fit for you that you weren't aware about, So when you go ahead and you click on University of Liverpool, you'll see these 3 dots right here for UK universities. So when you click on these 3 dots, you can see students who had shortlisted or who are interested in this particular course at University of Liverpool, what other courses maybe they were shortlisting. And this is a great way of you understanding, oh wow, I didn't know that, this university or this course might be a good fit for me. So this is a good way of understanding that as well, that, oh, University of Birmingham, I can maybe study international business. It might be similar to communications and business at University of Liverpool. So that's one way to look at it. And what you can also do is, if you have a keen interest in, say, University of Liverpool, you can go ahead, you can go ahead and click on these three dots and you can see more courses at University of Liverpool as well. If you have a keen interest in University of Liverpool, you can actually go ahead and see all of the different courses. You can see what the subject match is for you, meaning in the profile builder, when you listed economics, for example, how close are these courses at University of Liverpool to what you had indicated you want to study, and maybe what your chance of receiving an offer are. And this is actually a quick way to go ahead and add this university to your shortlist. So there's many different ways of exploring universities on BridgeU. And like I said, when we go to the home page as well, you'll see that this progress widget kind of guides you through that as well. So maybe, have you started thinking about university? Oh, maybe I'm just getting started. Okay, so maybe I can go ahead and select the countries I'd like to study in. Or maybe I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm not sure which countries I'd like to study in. And then you can go ahead and see which subjects you can go ahead and pursue. And then you can go ahead and be led to universities to research and shortlist. So it's really important. It is a critical time during the college application season that you go ahead and kind of make use of the tools that are being offered to you by your school. So the last tool that I actually want to talk about today is the writing builder. And I'm sure that many of you know, whether that's with the US, UK, Canada, and so on, you do need to write you need to provide some sort of writing sample. And for a lot of the times, those topics, are given to you. So for example, in the US, you have something called the Common Application Essay, and all of the prompts or all of the topics that are actually related to the Common App essay pop up for you right here, and you can start writing an essay on it. Or for example, for the UK personal statement, or for the universities that you maybe decide to be going to, it pulls up that university list for you right here, the ones you had narrowed down, and you can go ahead and start working on an essay for that. So this works exactly like a Google document. You can go ahead and create a sample essay. This will just take me to my sample essay. Just hold for a couple of seconds. Tells you what word count you can put in, what the number of word count is. Clearly the student has gone over that. And you can go ahead and kind of type up your essay. And your counselor can actually come on over here and leave comments for you. So it works exactly like a Google document, where your counselor can highlight things for you and so on, to kind of see if you are on the right track. You can also go ahead and see on the writing builder page, you can go ahead and go through sample essays. So sample essays can be for the US. So for example, a student who got into NYU, you can go ahead and see what his or her sample essay looked like. And if you hover over the highlighted area, you can see what made this essay a great essay. And keep in mind, the requirements for US and UK essays are very different. The UK is more academic based, and the US is more creative writing, based on the topic that you're given. So when you hover over here, you can see why this made for a great essay. And just like that, for personal statements for, say, the UK as well, you can see students that were offered or accepted at different universities. And when you go ahead and you go through the student sample essay, you can actually go ahead and see why this made such a great essay. And also, when you go to our help center, you can go ahead and see. And if you search essays, you can go ahead and see, different lesson plans, different resources, and different guides that guide you through the essay process. What are some do's and don'ts, and what things you can include in your essays, and so on. So we have loads of different resources for you students on the Help Center, and I would definitely recommend that you make use of those. Again, it's completely searchable by keyword. So with that, I kind of want to just end the session. There are a couple of more topics that, we can definitely go over as you kind of progress with review. But I do understand that, in these 40 minutes or so, it's a lot to kind of take in. And I definitely will, share the recording as well as some of the resources we went over with your counselors, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. We have about two minutes left. And if not, I would definitely ask you to check out our live chat and see if you have any technical issues. If you have any questions about the platform, you can definitely ask our support team, and they usually get back to you in a couple of minutes.
Okay, thank you, UMAMA. I think this is an insightful session for our children to get started on.
Recording stopped.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for your time, and good luck with your applications, and I really hope you can make the best of Bridgeview.
Thank you, UMAMA.
Take care. Bye-bye. Bye.
All right. Guys, now, since you've not asked questions, I'm going to ask a few questions. Joy, what is Profile Builder? जोर के बोलो, जाओ. Profile Builder, what is Profile Builder? Okay. Why you were here for this session? ये भी पता नहीं. Okay. What is Bridgeview doing? Very good. So, sit down. Is there anyone who can help Joy understand what is a Profile Builder? Rehmat, you know what is a Profile Builder? Huh? Yeah. Speak up. Yeah. So overall, we start from our profile builder, but there are other things also. If you all have attended Jolly Sir's sessions, he emphasized on one thing, that whatever you all love is the area of your talent, and that is what you need to change into your career. And with that, you also need a lot of skills. So this research on Bridgeview will help you also choose on, if I am wanting to do this particular course. For example, drone engineering is something that she just spoke about and caught my attention. So what are the skills that you need if you're going to be a drone engineer? What are the extra skills you need? So this is not about only engineering, but for all of you, in whichever field you go, there are a lot of skill sets that are required. So right now is the time for you to build on. We all know, we all get every report of who all have done something or not. This platform comes to you for your own sake, and please make the best use of it. And second thing that I want you all to really focus on is one thing that she talked about, the strategy builder. Now, what does the strategy builder do? Anyone? किसने सुना? किसी ने नहीं सुना? Strategy builder क्या करता है? Why not? Is this really something I really am not expecting this out of this? Class 11 and 12, nobody knows what is strategy builder? You know it? Yeah. strategy builder will help you build essays. But what is it? What do you put in that? What is the information that you put in that? Not the courses you're interested in. Extracurricular. Who said this? Yeah. So what do you do? At Vivek High, you all already know that so many things that you do. You need to turn this into your strength. And then with strategy builder, there was something very important, which was that what have you learned from what your extracurricular activities are? Because all of the people, when you go for your interviews, they're going to ask you. It's not that you were just a part of debate and that's about it. You should know, what did you learn? Okay, so anything that you do, any learning is very important. You just, something that even you've learned in class 4 or 5 is also important, put in there. Nobody is watching this, but this is for your own sake to see through that what are your learnings of the school. Okay, so now we have we are just about time. So I expect that each one of you are going to now start building your profile and adding using the strategy builder the most. Okay, thank you, children.